Today I want to talk about men who appear to have sorted their eating through discipline. The lean, consistent, controlled men who seem to have cracked it. And that was me in the past as well. And I also want to go over what it actually cost me and the problems it caused in my life. But more because there's a version of having that perfect body that still maintains the problem, just better hidden. And for some reason, nobody is talking about it. And so stay with me, because by the end of this video, you can understand the difference between having the results and having actually solved it. And that sounds like a similar thing. And that's the problem here. Most men don't even realize that there's a difference and what it's costing them having the wrong one. And I spent years as that man I just described, like the body people assumed required extreme sacrifice, the discipline that looked impressive from the outside, but up here, told a completely different story. And I've also worked with men who are in exactly that position now. Those who maybe have the result, have the body, but feel that something isn't quite right. It's taking too much effort. The control they're using to maintain this or have this body is quietly affecting their whole life. And so this video is for both of those people, those who've been there and those who are still there now. And just a point, the fitness industry has no incentive to tell you what I'm about to discuss, because their model is all around selling the result, and they don't really care what happens afterwards. You see this before and after, and this sort of pay to maintain your results model. But there is a much better way. And there are three things I'd like you to understand by the time we get to the end of this video. Number one, the two types of men who appear to have sorted this through discipline, and why only one actually has solved it. Number two, the hidden cost that comes with discipline and why most men never actually see it or realize it. And number three, what actually solving this really looks like and why it's completely different to what you are doing now. And here's something worth saying before anything else. Some men do actually solve this through discipline. The problem or the pattern was never that deeply rooted. So a new program or a bit of structure helped them get out of the rut and get to where they want to without too much control, without too much neurotic thinking, without affecting up here. And for those men, discipline was probably the right tool and it worked for them. So that is your experience. This video might not be for you. But also, just a side note, it's very easy to justify what you are doing because it gives you a result. And when you do something hard that gives you something good, you can very easily get sort of addicted to it because it's giving you something that you want and need so badly. But there's also a second type of man that is much more common than the first. And this was me in the past. This is the man that has the results, that has the body, that from the outside, it seems like everything is working. He's consistent, disciplined, and seems to be able to effortlessly have this control through life that gives him that fitness and the body that you maybe are looking for. But when you look more closely, a different picture emerges. He's not eating from a place that is genuinely his. He eats by rules. These rules control him. And when these rules fall apart, or without these rules, everything else falls apart as well. So what do these rules look like? They come in different forms. It might be that he skips meals, he fasts to stay in control, to save calories, cutting out certain food groups, eating different ways. It might be that I'm on a carnivore diet, or I stick to my macros, I clean eat. All these labels that actually come from strict rules around food. And it's not because these things are enjoyable, it's because without these strict rules and structure, the problematic eating returns. And so if we are really honest about it, this kind of eating isn't really serving your life or my life or anyone else who's doing it. Your life starts to revolve around it. But again, like I said, you've justified it because it gives you a result. And if any of what I just said felt uncomfortable, it might be because you are triggered by it. It might be that you do it. Tell me in the comments what you think, because I'd love to open up a discussion around this. And the point I want to make here is that nothing has changed underneath. The system, the pattern, the structure you are using is keeping a lid on what's going on underneath. And without this structure, the rules, all that system, everything starts to fall apart again. And you can tell me again in the comments if this resonates with you. What happens on the weekend What happens when you go on holiday or Christmas, events where you can't follow the rules or the structure, or you don't want to. A lot of people I speak to say, well, I'm going on holiday. There's no way I'm going to be so strict. I want to be more relaxed. But it's very black and white. So without those rules, like I said, what's underneath comes out. And so you haven't solved the root cause of any eating that you have, and the structure and rules you built around it are what is keeping that lid on. And in those moments where you let it out, on holiday, Christmas, whatever it might be, those behaviors start to emerge again. So thinking about it, what I'm trying to say is that people almost use discipline to keep a lid or hide that emotional eating. And as long as those rules are in place, it's okay. And that's why they become so important. And people often hold so tightly to them and justify them so much. And again, if you disagree with this, let me know in the comments. I'd love to have a discussion around it. And something I really want to emphasize here is you can't usually see this from the outside. The difference between someone that has this solved and someone that has it contained looks the same to the onlooker. That fit and lean body, the person that's consistent, the person that goes to the gym, the person that, is healthy. And that's why this is such a hard thing to solve, because if you think about it, if I already have the body I want just through the wrong method, why change anything? Because you can justify the behavior, can't you? And so that distinction matters, but here's what really makes it worse. There is a cost attached to that control, rules, discipline, and the way of getting the body that doesn't solve the underlying issues. So I want to describe something now, and you can tell me if this sounds familiar. You're at a restaurant with your partner and you're looking at the menu. Your partner is choosing what sounds good, but you're there doing something different. You're calculating, adding, negotiating, thinking about what you've eaten already, thinking what you're allowed. Is it a cheat day? Are you going to cheat? Deciding what the meal means for you for the rest of your day, your week, your month even. And you look like you are reading the menu, but instead your mind is elsewhere. Or it might be that you're on holiday, that kind of trip that feels like a break. And it mostly does, except for food. Food never is really quite off your mind. Every meal is a small decision. Every buffet is a small test. So the rules travel with you. And the rules being present mean that you are never truly on holiday. Or it might be that social event, food is there too. And you manage yourself around it. You eat what fits, decline what doesn't. On the outside, you appear relaxed. But on the inside, it's those rules, those what ifs, that quiet negotiation that never really switches off. Another one, it could be that you're at home in the evening with your partner and they suggest ordering something off plan, something you hadn't thought about. And without meaning to, food has just created a small distance between you and your partner, because now you're not truly present. You're thinking, you're calculating. Again, your mind is wiring and just thinking about it in a different way. And that sounds nuanced, but it makes a big difference. And none of these moments are really dramatic. You might not even recognize or remember them, but that's the point. They are subtle and insidious. So if you recognize yourself in any of this and you feel like you are on that path, you maybe have the body, you're at least into the health and fitness enough to have experienced getting that fit, lean body, but realize maybe you have paid for it with your freedom, with this constant mental chatter, negotiation that just won't switch off. You might have been doing it for so long, like me, that you didn't recognize it in the moment because it gave you so much. It gave you that fit, lean body. But something pulled you out of it, even momentarily. It might have been you were ill one day, or you were in a different scenario, a different environment that made you eat in a different way, that just made you see it slightly differently, or feel a different way, or experience some kind of freedom from that mindset. Some people do it, like that's why on the weekend, this cheat meal or cheat day, because it stops you having to think so much about food. This is my day where I don't have to think. I can completely switch off from that weekday calculating. But this is that black and white thinking that has such a, let's say, negative effect, but one that you don't often see straight away. Especially, again, I'm relating a lot to my issues in the past. I never saw it. And if any of this is resonating with you and you want to understand what addressing it rather than just managing actually looks like, I have a free assessment in the description below. 3 minutes, you go through some questions and it will help pinpoint your behaviors and the steps you need to take to actually resolve this in the most freedom-giving way. It's down there in the description below. And so now you understand the hidden costs of getting that body in the wrong way, let's call it. What does it actually look like having not to pay for it? So in those previous examples, that person, and maybe it's you, it was me in the past, has built something impressive. They've put discipline in and got the body that they want. And I want to make the point that I'm not dismissing any of that, and there's no reason not to want to have that. But there is a version of having that doesn't require so much effort up here. It doesn't require the calculations, the rules, the discipline, the structure that takes away so much from your life. Think about someone now who cannot swim versus someone that can. The person that can't swim can still get from one side of the pool to the other with floats, with help, with technique, but all this requires extra effort. It's harder, it requires concentration. Now the person that can swim, it's completely different. They don't need to think, they just do it. It's something inbuilt, something automatic, something that they just do. And while they do that, they can be more present, they can enjoy their surroundings, they can function in a different way. To onlookers, they both got the same result, but in completely different ways. And so coming back to what we're talking about now, getting to the other side in the second scenario, without the floats, without the help, is what we are going to focus on. That's what we're thinking about here. The goal isn't to need tight, controlled systems that need to stay in place to support you. It's being able to do it without them. And so the goal was never discipline. Discipline was the path that most people point to because they don't have a better one to offer. The real goal, if you actually think about it, is actually freedom. And by that, I don't mean the absence of structure. I mean the absence of background noise and the huge cost that the other way, the discipline mindset, brings you. If we get deep about this, discipline might get you the body, but freedom brings you the life that you truly want. They might be nuanced, you might not realize it yet, but there's a big difference between these approaches. And again, if you want that first step of understanding this, I have my free assessment in the description below. 3 minutes, and it will take you through the things you need to understand, the behaviors, the patterns that you have, and the first steps to changing this for good. So if you recognize yourself in this person I described, don't see it as a character flaw or a failure. See it as information. See it as a first step to changing, if you want to. Getting the body and solving that pattern, that deep pattern underneath, are two different things, very different things. You may have done the fast. You may have got that body. This channel is about solving that stuff underneath so your life can feel much more authentic, much more free, to remove that background noise, to remove the things, those hidden costs that may be stopping you truly living your life. So the cost is real. And if this video has resonated with you, there's another one up on screen now, which is the next thing you need to understand to solve this for good. And if you are new here, feel free to subscribe as well.